What's up, rock stars? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy Ferguson. I'm a self-love and relationship coach, and those are the things that we discuss and explore here in this community. If this is your first time here, please know that I'm truly so happy that you found me, and if this resonates with you at all, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm when you do and helps get my videos in front of more people who really need them, so thank you in advance. I appreciate you so much. This video is the first installment of a series of videos called Expectations Ruin Everything. It's a working title, but the reality is I do believe that expectations can have damaging effects on your relationships, your self-worth, and even your spirituality. So if you want to know what the heck an expectation really is and how it's screwing up all the things, stay tuned. Now, obviously the word expectation comes from the root word expect, and expect is defined as to regard as likely to happen, to look for with reason or justice, to suppose, surmise, or guess. Yes, guess. So essentially, an expectation is a belief that something will happen or be the case in the future, or a belief that someone will or should do, be, or achieve something. Now, before we go any further, it's really important to note that these kinds of beliefs, expectations, can affect any and all relationships. Friends, colleagues, parents, children, children. Touch me, Lord. For the purpose of this video, we are going to discuss how expectations shape and affect our romantic relationships. Expectation is a projection, a guess, as we heard earlier. The definition also alluded that you might use a means of justification to project these guesses, meaning if you have an expectation, you also clearly have a crystal ball. Duh. Now, before I literally turn everyone off, let me change these you statements to I statements. Because I'll be the first to tell you that the imaginary crystal ball was, and sometimes still is, my best friend. Like, I'm really good at creating scenarios that have not happened and inserting myself into another person's reality and making it all about me. So what do I mean by stepping into someone else's reality? The truth is, we don't have a crystal ball. I mean, I'm assuming that most people watching this video don't literally have gifts that allow them to see into the future. I was being obnoxious in order to exaggerate my point, right? Right. What we do have is not a literal glimpse into the future, but more often a memory of the past. A memory that's real, like as in it actually happened. Oh, yesterday, my old friend. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Or yesterday sucked. And the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that. Or that one day that your partner absolutely wrecked your entire world and disbanded any and all trust you had for them. You know, that day that they really screwed up bad. Or the day, week, or month, or entire season of your childhood that really, really sucked. And now you only recall subconsciously. So we take one or multiple instances, justifications, if you will, with a certain degree of predictability that our partner is going to let us down. Now, whether we acknowledge it or not, this is a textbook definition of letting our past determine our future, which is a surefire way to stay exactly where you are, stopping growth and personal development in its tracks. Now, the way I've described this makes the letdown seem pretty dramatic, but allow me to clarify that this could be in regard to anything. It could be as dramatic as, I know he's going to cheat on me because he's cheated on me before. For all those attempting to recover and heal from infidelity, this might hit really, really close to home. To the other end of the spectrum, I know he's not going to take out the trash because he never takes out the trash. Now, it's really important to pay close attention to our emotions during this series of thoughts, no matter what end of the spectrum that they fall on. Are you disappointed, angry, resentful? My specialty. And at what point do those feelings usually enter? Is it when he doesn't take the trash out? Is it before he doesn't take the trash out? Do you find yourself feeling the negative emotions before you've really even given them the opportunity to let you down or fail? That's a special kind of crazy. But really, at this point, it's important to ask, are you judging them for things that haven't even happened yet, based on their past sins or your insecurities? That is really a timeline worth noticing. We've covered using the past to predict the future. Now, at this point, you might be saying, Tracy, I don't expect them to fail. Quite the opposite. I expect them to succeed. I expect them to give me what I need because I know their potential. I know they can do better, and I want them to want to do better because they can. I know they can. Comment down below if you've ever viewed your relationship like you might view a home? Are they a fixer-upper or move-in ready? So if you find your expectations rooted in this idea of knowing their potential, knowing that they could do better and give you what you need, they weren't so damn selfish. Did I say that out loud? And you can totally put your own language around this here. So I'm saying that they let you down, but it's those moments that you know that they can do better, you want them to meet your needs or do the thing that you've expected of them, but you wind up feeling disappointed, stuck, or like questioning whether you're even right for each other in the first place. Now that litany of questions in and of itself is not an inherently bad practice if you can isolate it. So at this point in our discussion, you know that I believe expectations are tricky at best and toxic at worst. So why am I suddenly backtracking and saying that you might be asking the right questions? I'm not really backtracking here. It's just important to note that sometimes we need to legitimately question if a relationship is right for us. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that every relationship is, or that we should stick around in ones that truly perpetuate cycles of mistreatment and abuse. Nor should we continue to dismiss big gaps in values or commitments or overall attitudes of disregard and disrespect. So when these feelings of disconnect come up, it's important to communicate them to your partner in a healthy way. I uploaded an entire how-to on this last week, and that will be linked at the end of this video. So now that the don't stay in a miserable, abusive relationship disclaimer is out of the way, let's go back to the beginning for those of us who might be in the camp of, I don't expect them to let me down, I expect them to behave differently, to give me what I need, to want to do better. I mean, after all, I'm giving 150% over here. If this is how you justify your expectations, then I want to invite you to really pause and question your reasoning for a moment. Because personally, back in the day when my whole relationship was a big old ball of expectation, I was really good at holding past sins over my partner's head as a means of justifying an expectation that they would fail. However, I was also excellent at pushing the, come on man, you're better than this narrative, like a lot. And what I personally found after exploring this a bit is that these thoughts and beliefs were laced with a deeply held and underlying belief that if he loved me enough, he would do better. He would meet my needs. He would be the man that I needed him to be. Do you already see the inherent flaw within this logic? If you haven't found it yet, I'll tell you. When we use the if they love me enough approach to justify our expectations, and then they indeed don't meet your expectations, you have pre-programmed the belief that if they can't be who you need them to be or do the thing that you expect of them, then they must not love you. And if you're anything like me, you may have carried this belief into relationship after relationship, year after year, season after season. That is when that belief becomes so deeply rooted that it can indeed transform from he must not love me to I must be hard to love, or I am unlovable. Now, many times this process isn't entirely constructed through our adult relationships, but rather echoed as something that we learned in childhood. And as I often say, that's a whole other video. The purpose of this video was to simply start the discussion about expectations and how potentially damaging they can be to our romantic relationship. So whether you're just aggravated over the little things that don't happen, don't get said, don't get done, and start stacking up like little bricks that keep you disappointed, or you're using your partner's actions to determine your inherent self-worth, expectations might really be effing with your relationship. But fear not, because next week we're gonna dive into what the hell you can really do about that. For now, here's what I'd like you to do. Pay close attention to your expectations. Where they start, how they make you feel, and if they're serving you. I'll leave you with this quick practical tip. If you find yourself expecting your partner to do or be or behave in a certain way, ask yourself, what do I really need right now? And more importantly, how can I give it to myself? We'll expand on that next Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like if you haven't already. And if you want to continue expanding on this conversation and all things self-love and relationships, be sure to hit subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing. Until then, stay self-aware and I will see you in the next video. Love was such an easy game to play. Man, I love the Beatles. Ugh. Kids, man. I expect a lot of my kids. Like, I expect my kids to not chew the tops off of squirt guns, which is what they did yesterday. with their teeth. Can you do this? It's my party trick.